Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, your home for MMA picks, breakdowns, and betting angles. Before we dive into today's card, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button so that way you can follow all of our videos in the future and you don't miss any of our exciting breakdowns. Before we get into the actual fight card today, I want to take a moment to reflect back on how we did last week for Dana White Contender Series. Because if you guys are here, you want to know, hey, is this the place that you get the information that serves you? Well, last week, there were 5 fights. We made a prediction on all 5 fights, and we parlayed it. And if you did that, you made 21-1 on your money. So we went perfect, 100% hit rate for last week's Dana White Contender Series. So you might be like, hey, that's lucky. It's great you guys got off to a good start. Probably won't happen again, right? You probably just get that once. Not really, because then 3 days later, there was the PFL. So on Thursday, we uploaded our PFL video with 10 fights. Of those 10 fights, we correctly predicted 9 of them, but we parlayed 5 fights together and made a parlay. We presented it in that video. So hopefully you're watching our videos all the way through from beginning to end because we provide amazing breakdowns. You see, we provide recaps at the beginning. Plus, we show you what you should be doing for the future, where we're going to be putting our money or positioning some of these parlays. Again, we don't recommend that you play every single parlay, but at least you're managing your units. You're playing these as singles. But I like to throw a little video parlay up every single time to say, hey, if we ever do go perfect, we should benefit from that if we ever have a perfect card. And did we do that once? Yes. Did we do it twice? Yes, we did. We did that again for PFL. So if you want to follow it, so if you've been following last week in our first 3 videos, you'd be up 46 units just playing 2 bets on these parlays. So you'd be up 4,600% on your money if you don't know what units means. So you bet a single unit and that unit pays back whatever. So 25 times or 21 times, which were the last 2 tickets, you'd be up 46 units. So you got 4,600% your money. I think you guys should probably pay attention if you want to make some money. I know I'm locked in because nothing motivates me more than being right. And on top of that, I made some money. Everyone who followed made some money. I love it when my friends make money. I love it when the fans make money, followers make money. I like it when I make money. And that's why this channel is 100% free. I'm not asking for donations. There's no PayPal account. There's nothing to purchase. There's no website. There's no membership. I don't need your money because I'm already making money betting my own picks and winning. I just want to share this with you so that you recognize, and when you go and you start talking about your fight breakdowns, you can honestly just say, hey, listen, I don't care what you have to say. I follow Deep Sport Insights. He's always right. He makes me money, and that's that's my goal. I just want to be the number one in the space. And to do that, I got to put money in your pockets, right? So there we go. And with that, let's get into the very first fight. First fight, we have Donte Johnson versus Darion Abbey. This fight's taking place at heavyweight. Now, Donte Johnson now is a natural light heavyweight. He does fight at 205, but nobody wants to smoke against this guy right now. It's hard to book him a fight at light heavyweight because he's powerful, he's fast, he has tree trunk legs, he's just a thick body, and he's muscular. He used to fight at heavyweight. If you look at his fights 2 or 3 years ago, he's lost a lot of weight. He used to be thick in the midsection, kind of had like a gut, but was really just strong, built like a Daniel Cormier essentially. But now his physique's turned a lot more. He has a lot more physicality to his physique now. That belly's gone. It's almost like you can see abs starting to come through, and he's still a very thick dude. Darion Abbey has accepted this fight because this fight's going to be taking place at heavyweight. So Donte Johnson's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll fight at heavyweight. He's probably coming in closer to about 220, I would predict, when they actually weigh in for this fight, because he won't need to cut weight. He probably walks around about 230-ish. Maybe he'll show up around between 220 to 230. But remember, this guy will not need to cut weight, and this is a short notice fight. Darion Abbey on the other side, over here, yeah. On the other side, Darion Abbey is accepting this fight, also short notice. He's 6'6". He does fight at heavyweight, but he doesn't max out at 265. He's usually walking anywhere between 230 to 240. So although Darion Abbey will be about 6 inches taller between these two gentlemen, in terms of actual physicality and weight, I do predict Darion Abbey to maybe be no more than 10 to 15 pounds heavier than Donte Johnson, if that. But when you look at their physiques, Donte Johnson has a thicker torso, has a thicker arms, has a thicker legs. He also explodes better. He has better defense and a better top pressure. Minus 300. When you see the difference in the size of these gentlemen, you would think, like, hey, there's a real opportunity to play plus 220 on the dog at Darion Abbey. And I could agree. And there's cases where Darion Abbey could win this fight. Those are where if Donte Johnson isn't able to get started quickly, isn't able to knock him out in the first round, we have not seen Donte Johnson in his professional career past the first round. He's won all of his fights in the first round by knockout. Darion Abbey has been knocked out 3 times in his professional career, and he's been finished in all 4 of his professional losses. He is hittable. He is vulnerable. I watched some of his fights. This guy is very easy to hit. He does get dropped, but he has good grappling and defensive grappling to return to his feet and avoid most damage. I think that's what saved him in previous fights. It won't work here because I do think Donte Johnson will be able to get to his chin. He'll be able to drop Darion Abbey, maybe not just once, but a few times. But when he gets on top of you, the ground and pound pressure, the elbows that Donte Johnson throws is nasty powerful. And because he's so short stock, he's really good at maintaining that control on top. And I see that's how this fight's going to play out. Darion Abbey keeps his hands down here. He walks forward. He eats punches all the time. Lesser strikers than Donte Johnson have landed on him. Almost everyone is able to clip on the chin. I think he's dropped in half of his fights. So he is vulnerable. The thing he's able to recover and get back up, especially his opponents aren't able to go for that kill once they smell blood in the water. Donte Johnson knows how to go for the kill when he's smells blood in the water. You would think with 5 first-round finish KOs, this guy's going out there blitzing forward, throwing hammers, haymakers, pushing people back and messing them up. That's not the case. He's actually really technical. He waits for his opportunities. He's patient, but when he gets the hit, he knows when he smells blood in the water, and he goes. He has killer instinct, and I like that here. I do think that's what happens. These guys fight 10 times. Donte Johnson's able to get that knockout within the first round, maybe within the first 7 minutes of the fight. The only way I see that this actually becomes really competitive if Donte Johnson isn't able to get the knockout within the first 5 minutes. He starts to slow because he has that size. He is explosive. He does throw really good leg kicks as well, which I think is going to be huge here in the Darion Abbey fight because Abbey fights long, and he just kind of plods forward. So his legs are always there to be picked apart. But going back and finishing my original thought with Donte Johnson, if he starts to fatigue and Darion Abbey's the bigger dude in this fight, and we know he's able to return to his feet, and he makes Donte Johnson work for it, and he's not able to get out in their first 7-8 minutes, I can see Darion Abbey taking over later in the fight because he's heavier, because he's wearing on this man, because he's able to land more strikes at range. As these guys get slower it's a heavyweight fight. These guys are going to slow down. They're going to slow down pretty quickly. Darion Abbey having the extra few inches in his reach, able to throw out that jab and the cross when the volume's really going to start dropping down at range. Darion Abbey can start picking away on the scorecards and start tallying up those strikes at distance, and that could steal the later round. So I can see Darion Abbey winning the third round if there's a third round. So if you do like Darion Abbey, that would be his path to victory. But I do see Donte Johnson finding his chin because it's not very difficult to find Darion Abbey's chin. Donte Johnson has power. He's precise. He's a technical striker. He's very accurate. He's explosive, super athlete, and short stocky, powerful, peak male physique. Give me Donte Johnson money line, and I would actually take Donte Johnson inside the distance by KO. I'd even take him in the first round to get the finish in the first round because that's really his path to success here. It's what we've seen in his last few fights. It is a step up in competition, but Darion Abbey's not a significant step up by any means in competition. On to the next fight. The next fight, this is going to be a banger. Cristian Perez versus Manoel Souza. So in this fight, we have Souza as the LFA tested with legit jiu-jitsu. He's a competent wrestler, clean boxing. Not a lot of huge power, though. Like, it looks like he throws hard. He'll, lunge for it, and he'll land, but you'll see the way his opponents eat them. The strike itself looks more animated and more impactful than it actually is when it hits his opponents. So he might suffer from pillow fist, which is a disease where you just can't seem to generate enough power to knock out your opponents. But his resume is solid, including a win over Marcio Barbosa. He was able to knock out Marcio Barbosa back in 2019, but that's pre-fighting nerds Marcio Barbosa, relatively young in his career. And it happens, you do get caught, but that's usually when you level up, you lock in, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. And Marcio Barbosa is going to be a co-main eventing for the UFC in about a month. So, it's a pretty good win that aged well for Manoel Souza. On the other side, you have Cristian Perez, who's been part of that Camache fight league, the Mexican regional scene, but it's a really good regional competition scene. Those guys, those are some great scraps. Unfortunately, they don't put their cards out early enough. It's very difficult to find those streams. I think there's available on Telemundo, which is, I'm in Canada. You don't really get that stuff out here. So it's really hard to dig for those because and find those fights. But I was able to look at some of Cristian Perez's recent fights, and dude, the guy looks good. He's aggressive. He comes forward. He throws knees. He throws elbows. He grabs the clinch. He gets you against the fence. He'll try to work takedowns. I will say this, though, his defensive grappling's not good because of how aggressive he is. He leaves himself exposed for his opponent to shoot takedowns. Now, Manoel Souza doesn't have the best offensive grappling, but with the way Cristian Perez creates these windows, Manoel Souza will be able to land a takedown or two. Now, I don't think he'll be able to hold Cristian Perez down, and I also think Cristian Perez will struggle to hold Manoel Souza down because Souza is really slick in his grappling. He's really hard to hold down for most of his opponents, and he has great jiu-jitsu, great submissions when he's on his back. But when it comes to the standing, Cristian Perez throws more volume. He's way more aggressive. He's offensive, and he throws the power strikes. I've already said Manoel Souza doesn't seem to actually have that power that puts his opponents away, and he doesn't throw as much volume. I think the grappling in this game nullifies each other. I think when the fight will end up on the ground a few times, but I think it'll return to its feet within less than 20 to 30 seconds each time, because either the guy on the ground is able to scramble, or the guy on top is seeing the threat coming from the guy on the bottom. Because even Cristian Perez throws up triangles off his back. We saw that in one of his recent fights. And Manoel Souza has submissions off his back too. So I think most of this fight will take place on the feet, where I do see Cristian Perez eking it out because he has solid striking. He's more aggressive. This guy just wants it more, and it seems to be almost impossible to knock this guy out. I do see a lot of striking in this fight, but give me the fighter who throws slightly more volume and will be more aggressive in this fight. Give me Cristian Perez as an underdog, and I like Cristian Perez by decision because I think both these guys are extremely tough, very durable, difficult to finish, and this is going to be a tough fight for both these gentlemen. But I like how this looks. Moving on, we have a fight between Abdul Rahman Yakhyaev and Alec Lorenz. This will be a relatively quick breakdown. Yes, Yakhyaev is only 24 years old. He's relatively immature in his fighting, in his career. But this is not the fight for Lorenz to win. Yakhyaev is dangerous everywhere. He has a crisp cross-hook combo, so that works when you're pressing forward. He throws, hook, cross hook, and even you're backing up, it's the check, hook, and cross. So it's a really reliable combo. He throws it lightning fast. It's very versatile as a 1-2. He has a durable chin, suffocating body lock, and he has a great mat return game. Because one of the biggest things is his body lock is hard to break. But when a lot of wrestlers start to initiate those takedowns, especially more lower level fight in this lower level fighting scene, people are learning their wrestling. Like, oh yeah, I need to do A, B, C, D. And part of those steps is making sure when you establish your grips and then you're transitioning to the next step and getting the takedown. A lot of fighters, when they're starting to initiate that takedown or trying to finish that takedown, they'll release their grips. They lose control of their opponent. The opponent starts scrambling because they're trying to shuffle their position so they can get on top of their opponent. What Abdul Rahman Yakhyaev does really well is he maintains that body lock. It's so hard to get rid of that body lock and always keep it. So if his opponent's if his opponent pops up, he's able to keep that lock and do another mat return and bring them right back to the mat. It's exactly what you would have seen if you watched the Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis fight, the championship fight that just took place a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That's exactly what Yakhyaev can do to Alec Lorenz here. It's a very boring fight. It is not exciting. But the betting opportunity here is because it's minus 1,000. I do see this fight going the distance, and you might find value on betting Yakhyaev by decision. Those betting props aren't out yet. By betting props, I mean by specific method of victory, which is what I like to bet here. And those double chances, if you saw those previous tickets, they're almost all double chances. Right now, we just have the money lines. I would assume at minus 1,000 and with the submission wins that Yakhyaev does have, they would think that, hey, there's a submission threat here from Yakhyaev. But I think Alec Lorenz is just going to be defending all day long because I think very quickly he'll learn that, hey, he's going to get manhandled in the grappling in this fight. He's going to be starting to wear down, and then he's just going to say, hey, listen, I know I lost this fight, but I'm not getting finished. I think that's how this fight's essentially going to play out. Lorenz does throw volume and elbows and is durable, but his defense is horrid. So he is hittable. Not like striking is where Yakhyaev makes his bread and butter. He does have 2 knockouts, but against absolute tomato cans. And Yakhyaev has fought tomato cans. Let me be very clear. There's not some Dagestani superstar that we're looking at right here, but he's very similar in terms of profile and fighting characteristics, so that's what he wants to fight. He hasn't been built up in the same way. I'm not really sure about the quality of training camps he has or who he actually trains with to build up his game. But I just know with what I've seen from his grappling, the body locks, it's going to be a long, boring day for Alec Lorenz. This is not a great fight to watch. It's very clear once. I wouldn't even bet this because it's minus 1,000. And yeah, Yakhyaev could get the submission. I would only say Yakhyaev by decision because I'm essentially just flipping a coin saying he takes the decision over the submission because Alec Lorenz will essentially just have to protect his neck, protect against the guillotines, and he'll be fine for the most part. Yakhyaev is not going to be looking for submissions off his back. He's looking to control, have that dominant position, and once he knows he's going to be coasting himself to a victory and there's no threat, he might start to look for submissions late. But I think with Alec Lorenz, knowing that he's going to be losing by then, is going to be all in on just submission defense and protecting his neck and just finding his way to the scorecards. Yeah, the side is Yakhyaev. Clearly the side is Yakhyaev, but It's really difficult to bet this fight. I'll probably, when I get the double chance lines, I'll take Yakhyaev by decision or submission. I would expect that thing to be at minus 500, so not a whole lot of juice, but this is a very easy side to pick in this one. All right, before we get into the Marcio Barbosa and Damon Wilson fight, I want to pause one more time, ask you guys, please like and subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of our betting breakdowns. We're really trying to grow this channel. If you have some friends or a community that actually likes to enjoys MMA breakdowns, likes to look at fights beyond just the UFC, look at Dana White Contender Series, the PFL, I might be even looking into expanding into the one fight championship space as well, please share the video, recommend the channel. We've been working very hard to create quality graphics, get you the breakdowns, do the research, and bring you quality content that you can rely on, and we're winning. So let's win together. Now we're getting back into the breakdown. Marcio Barbosa and Damon Wilson. This fight is at featherweight, but Damon Wilson usually competes up at lightweight, so he'll be at the bigger man in the octagon. He's 9-2 with 6 KOs, riding a 2-fight KO streak, and thrives in the clinch with relentless pressure. Marcio Barbosa has the experience in steady kickboxing. Think Edson Barbosa, but without the flashy kicks and spinning stuff. But his footwork is static. He just walks straight. He walks you down, or he walks straight back. Shells up with the high guards, open to body leg work. Exactly where Wilson's clinch pressure should shine. This will be a good fight because these guys are violent, great strikers. The difference here is the way that they like to strike. Barbosa is comfortable managing that space, that no man's land. He wants to make sure he backs up, then he chooses when he engages. If there's a lot of blitzing, he'll evacuate the area, kind of give up that space and wait till he reinitiates in a more safe manner. He is more defensively sound, even though he has 2 knockouts, but that's in 18 professional fights, fighting at quality level competition. You see there, he does have the quality level opponents compared to Damon Wilson. And he has victories and finishes over those said opponents. Marcio Barbosa is also the younger man here, so he might have the edge if this fight goes later. He might not slow down as much as Damon Wilson, who we know is going to be coming down from lightweight to featherweight. That being said, because stylistically Barbosa is susceptible to the body shots, and we've seen Damon Wilson throw nasty knees to the body, hooks to the body, uppercuts to the body, and he uses a lot of the clinch. His one hand is almost always on a tie collar, and he's pressing forward so he can get the tie collar again. So it'll be hard for Marcio Barbosa, who likes to kind of be either in or all the way out, to deal with the guy who's only looking to come forward and get in. And when he's in, he's kind of peeling back, breaking down that posture. And if we look, Damon Wilson, like I said, is the bigger fight. He's also taller. So when you have that tie clinch or you have that collar tie against a taller fighter, he's going to find those knees easier. He's also going to find it easier to break your posture down and keep it collapsed. I don't know how good Marcio Barbosa is in the clinch. If he has experience fighting these type of opponents or training and sparring, then this is going to be pretty competitive. And Marcio Barbosa should be able to get forward pressure, eventually outlast Damon Wilson. It should be a really close fight if that's the case. But at plus 270, Damon Wilson being the bigger guy, I know he likes to clinch. I've seen the vicious body shots this guy throws, and he is so patient, calm, and collected. I love that, and he can take a shot. So Marcio Barbosa's path to victory here in my eyes is very clear. He has to win by decision by putting up more volume and pushing Damon Wilson back. But what does Damon Wilson do well? He comes forward, he's durable, he's aggressive, he uses a clinch, he gets you up against the fence, and he strikes until you can't eat any more strikes. Marcio Barbosa is going to be the most difficult level of competition Damon Wilson has ever fought in his career. But Damon Wilson is going to be the bigger man. He's not much older. He's 32. He's still in his physical prime. I think he controls in the clinch. That's really what it is. I think he controls in the clinch. I think the power difference is going to be there because he's usually fighting at lightweight. Speed might favor Marcio Barbosa, but speed's not really an issue for Damon Wilson, again, because he likes to fight in the clinch. You're neutralizing that speed because you're fighting in the clinch. That's where power, leverage matters more, and that's why Damon Wilson creates that environment in these fights. So plus 270, I'm going to take Damon Wilson here. I don't know if he knocks out Marcio Barbosa. It's very plausible, but I'll go double chance Damon Wilson by KO or points, because I think if it goes longer, his aggression and some of the more powerful strikes should win on the scorecards. Probably easily wins 2 rounds. He might give up the third. He could win all 3, but then he also could get a KO late if these body shots starts piling up on Marcio Barbosa. We've seen it. Fighters start to crumble under those body shots. Shots to the head, yeah, like you start bleeding, your eyes start closing, but it doesn't really impact your ability to actually get into the fight and implement your game plan. But when the body shots start to pile up, your hands come down, you're covering up, you flinch too much, it changes the way you're able to react in the fight. I do see the path. That's the path, and that's the way that the script is going to play out for this fight. So if we still have the script from last week, it's Damon Wilson by KO decision. And finally, okay, so this is supposed to be like the main card for Dana White Contender Series. This is the main event between Trent Miller and Ryon Gondra. I think this is probably one of the top 2 worst fights on this card. Bit of a mismatch. I don't think these guys are that skilled. Trent Miller, it's a late opponent change here. Gandra was originally lined up at light heavyweight, but now he gets Trent Miller at 185. So short notice, and you would think on short notice, you would go up a weight class to fight, right? Like we saw earlier on this card with Johnson. But that's not what's happening. Oh, sorry, give me a second. Oh, whoopsie. But yeah, that's not what's happening here. So we had originally a fight scheduled light heavyweight. So Ryon Gondra was supposed to fight at 205. They say, hey, your opponent can't make it. We gotta swap out your opponents. You're gonna get Trent Miller, but you're getting Trent Miller at 185. So is Ryon Gondra going to make weight at 185? Like, what's actually going to happen? Because you're not only saying, hey, we're changing your opponent, you're going to also have to drop an extra 20 pounds in weight. So this is weird to me. Right there, like, that's enough of an indicator for me. Just like, I'm not betting this fight. So I'm letting you guys know right now, if it wasn't for the parlay or any singles, I'm not betting this fight. I'm going to take an angle on this because I think the side is pretty easy. But that is a very strange outcome because the day of the fight, this might be canceled because Ryon Gondra can't make weight. I actually don't understand what's happening here because the logic doesn't make sense to me. Maybe there's something I'm missing that you guys can fill me in with on the comments because that's strange. That's very strange. But anyways, Trent Miller's at 185. He used to fight at light heavyweight as well, and that's where his 1 KO loss happened. But since moving to middleweight at 6'1", the frame fits better, and he's had much more success. Weight cut still matters, but stylistically, the matchup is clear. Gandra is forward pressure, volume striker who blitzes opponents to the fence. Miller is a one-dimensional wrestler, great top control and takedowns, but he's very hillable and throws a low striking volume. If Gandra can stuff or scramble off a few early shots, and he can, every second on the feet favors him. My lean is Gandra. Yeah, because I don't think Trent Miller can really out-wrestle this dude, and the Ryon Gondra is going to be the bigger dude. Trent Miller has not fought good competition. It's short notice. I don't even know if this fight happens. But Ryon Gondra, from what I've seen, is just better everywhere. And he's in better shape now. So in this picture, he was in better shape now than he is in that picture that you see. And he used to be really pot-belly when you used to see when you watch his fight tapes. He used to have like kind of a clear belly, like a beer belly. But now he's definitely taking his strength and conditioning a lot more seriously. So I feel like I can be confidently take him as the side. When we do drop the parlay, it's only going to be Ryon Gondra money line. There's not going to be any type of double chance here because at least if it's the money line, fight gets canceled. You know, it's a void. I don't want to see. I'm actually nervous if this guy makes 185. What does he look like? But I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can drop that extra 20 pounds. Like that's not water weight. That's something else, and you can't do that short notice. So I think Ryon Gondra's team has a plan here. Maybe he fights at light heavyweight when he's like not even 205. He's probably like 200. He didn't like to cut weight for light heavyweight. And he says, you know what? I'll make this middleweight fight. I'll actually cut weight for this thing. And he can easily cut 10, 15 pounds of water weight within 2 days. So that's not crazy. And if that's what's really happening, then come day of the fight, Ryon Gondra is going to be significantly bigger than Trent Miller. He's already 2 inches taller. We don't really have an idea of the reach. Before he had a lot of the weight on his midsection. Not really the case anymore. But that could also be why he's coming to middleweight. He's just got rid of that belly. And he says, yeah, you know what? We'll just fight at middleweight. I'm healthier now. My strength and conditioning is good. Let's go ahead here. And he'll be the bigger fighter. He can get knocked out, though. Like, he's been knocked out before. But Trent Miller is just not the fighter is not going to be the one to knock him out. That's simply where I'm getting at here. So Ryon Gondra is aside. That's the pick. And that is the last of the 5 fights for the Dana White Contender Series card. If you guys, again, you like what you see, you like what you hear, you like getting paid. Ooh, damn, I'm messing this up live. That's horrible. Don't tell anyone. The quality of these videos are getting better. Come on now. Yeah. So again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you have other betting angles, betting picks, you have questions about managing units, or you want to get involved in the community, just leave a comment. We are going to be growing this community, growing this page, and growing the space. We need your help for that. And also, you'll be quite surprised at the type of people that are in these communities. Yeah, I guess there's nothing else for me to say. What else do I want to say as these closing thoughts here? Yeah, no, that's it. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Hopefully we hit. I'm gonna try my best to actually post that parlay at some point before the actual fights. Lines aren't out yet. I'm gonna be playing on FanDuel. You do have the DK lines out right now, but they don't have the actual fighting props. So yeah, when they come out, I'll let you guys know. And then after this, the next time you should hear back on this channel, the next video should be this weekend's UFC fight night taking place. So you guys will hear again from me then. Anyways, cheers. Bye.